What's up, everybody? It's PLD.
And this is Richard Eric Jarvie. Welcome to Class Action, the classiest show on the interwebs.
Is it though? Are we that
We
classy?
try to be, and we like to think so. We're
So
really not.
fake it till we make it, maybe.
It'll happen.
Well, we're on Class Action on the Action Industries YouTube channel, home of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy. We thank them, of course, for our little home here on the interwebs. Class Action, where we take up two items, whether movies, they are franchises, they are actors, things of that nature, put them up against each other, place five categories that are custom made, and put them up in a battle against each other to the death to see who is victorious.
That's right. And this time we have it's almost like an actor versus actor and a movie versus movie.
It's true. That's very true. I mean, actually, in a way, it's almost like a movie versus itself in a way, because honestly, there are very similar movies in general as well. I mean, let's take out just put the cat out of the bag. You know the title. We got the Patriot. I just went the first one first, but the Patriot. I love our alternative posters over.
Sweet one.
Versus Braveheart.
There it is. So we chose these movies because it's the Independence Day. Happy Independence Day, everyone. I think we're airing on the Independence Day.
We are airing directly today.
That's right.
While you're watching it is the 4th of July, American Independence Day. You would think we would be doing an episode involving Independence Day, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to do that instead. I could have done that. We could have done like Patriot versus Independence Day, but this seems a lot more closer, I think. What do you think? Just a bet. I mean, let's face it. To be honest with you, Patriot versus Braveheart is an amazing comparison because I honestly thought that Patriot was pretty much Braveheart redone just in the Revolutionary War in a lot of ways.
It kind of is. But in some ways, now I've come to realize that the Patriot is actually sweeter in many ways.
Well,
like Braveheart is certainly the more acclaimed movie and like the more iconic movie.
Probably
the Patriot has something.
It has probably also the better movie, probably overall.
Oh, for sure.
But you're not wrong. There's a lot of sweetness in the Patriot. I mean, there's just a lot of sweetness to it. So I'm going to be very, very interested. I'm not even sure where we're going to end up on all these, to be honest with you. Because
no way, man. I've got no clue. But I think since we're doing snap judgments, what's yours?
My snap judgment. We're going to throw this in here first. My snap judgment is still going to be Braveheart overall.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the odd choice here. I'm gonna say the Patriot.
This is the second. No, ever since we started Snap Judgment, we're always on
I know.
your side, and you always seem to win. So, chat, put that out in the chat. Let's see what you say out there. Are you gonna be Team PLD? You be Team Jarvie? Now, this could be very dangerous if the Patriot wins. I feel like the Patriot's definitely more acclaimed, so people would be very. I don't know if upset is the word, but they'd be very surprised if the Patriot does win, but. Again, you never know, my friends. You never know.
And I promise I won't change my rulings towards the Patriot. These are all set in stone already.
No, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a lot of them that are set in stone, but I will never gear towards one or the other. So I want to see who's going to win. I always go for my gut at the time when I'm talking about it. So that's what we do in here at the show. But before we get to the categories, before we get to those wonderful categories we always deal with. We always have a couple of games. This week we do not have a public defender. I know you're going to be upset about you can't explain what that is. We did have a public defender possibly planned, but due to miscommunication, misschedule, we ended up not having it. So we're just going to go without it this week. But we still got my favorite game of the week.
Yes, we do.
What would Ed Harris play? I'm going to use this picture this week because it's kind of fitting.
I was so hoping you'd use the other one.
Oh, yeah?
Like, it was necessary for my recast.
Is it really? All right, I'll put it up there anyway. That one? The old one?
Oh, actually, no, this is not the one. This is what you usually use. But I was thinking of the Sweetwater? Not Sweetwater. The one with the white lock. That's the one.
Sweetwater. You want to use that one? Okay, that was that
one. I'll just go right in. I use that look in Braveheart and I'm sorry, I tried to look up the character and the actor's name, but I just couldn't find it because it's an ancillary character. But it's one of the Scottish lords that betrays Mel, like the one with the long white hair that has like these really gentle eyes. But he does betray him. He's like one of the ones that the cavalry that rides away, you know.
I know which one you mean. Yeah, okay, that's an interesting choice.
It's a very small role, and it's very much like the look is the same. But the character is, well, he's a shit weasel pretty much.
That's good.
And I have Ed Harris as the shit weasel in Braveheart.
Now, of course, you jumped the gun a little bit. You mean to explain what the game is, but I'll explain it now. What we do is we take Ed Harris, my favorite actor of all time, a guy who elevates every film he's in, a guy who never mails in a performance, kind of like another actor, Stanley Tucci. And that's if you hear what I'm saying there, it's probably because you watched Call to Action a couple weeks ago or last week or something where that came up. But I digress. Ed Harris, we try to put him into the movie. We either recast somebody or else we write a different role in it for him. Either way, we try to make this movie just a little bit better than it is, even though these movies are pretty sweet regardless. But we got your Braveheart. So for my Braveheart, it seemed like I kind of wanted to throw it in there. He's always been a very good villain. I was thinking about having him be the king, maybe, but that didn't quite work. I was thinking about actually even putting him in as Robert the Bruce, maybe, as a possibility, especially a younger Ed Harris could be potentially very working well off of Mel Gibson. But instead, I kind of went your route too with the same Sweetwater act. I want to have him as Stephen of Ireland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because he could have it look crazy. Ed Harris has that craziness in him sometimes. He doesn't get to play it off, and he just does more of the intense, evil kind of role. But when he does do that whimsy a little bit, it's very well done. I think he could have brought such an amazing act to this that I think it would have been wonderful to see. So
and his name is Steven.
David. David.
Excellent.
Exactly. Perfectly done there.
I don't like. I honestly, I can't see it though, because the performance from
David O'Hara.
That's the one.
That's the one.
I'm on point today. He's like incredible, and I truly cannot see Ed Harris in that role. Like I want to, but I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine it.
That's because you have not seen the Harris stunts as I have, and not seen Ed that can do it. So when I do the Harris stunts on PLD projects, which is coming anytime soon now, I promise, sometime very soon, just very soon. Then you'll see what I'm saying. All right, we both got the Braveheart in. What about the Patriots? You got to figure out something for the Patriots.
My Patriot is very, fastball right down the middle.
Okay,
I would have him as General Cornwallis.
Okay.
Just have him up in his high castle saying like, "You're down there, we're up here." You came into the wrong goddamn castle.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I know I love Wilkinson, but
right.
I can't I had a hard time putting him into the role that I did in Braveheart.
Right.
I don't know. It just didn't come to me, and I just figured, what the hell, him as Cornwallis. And if anyone should replace Wilkinson, it's Ed Harris.
That's a good call. I mean, I admit I even toyed with it just for about a millisecond when I was like, Ed Harris would be a great Tabington. I don't want to get rid of Jason Isaacs. Don't get me wrong. I've never recast him as Zach. We'll get into that. But again, I was saying that Ed Harris, he would play a good Tabington as well. But I did toy with Wilkinson. I even toyed with his Mel Gibson's friend, the one that ended up committing suicide right in front of him after the things that happened. John Billings is the character's name. But I decided to settle on an interesting choice for Ed. Again, I try to play him as type sometimes. I want to give him a little bit of a softer role this time.
Okay.
I'm going to cast him as Colonel / General Harry Burwell, Chris Cooper's role.
Chris, oh no, you recast Chris Cooper.
I'm recasting Chris Cooper because I want to see Ed Harris in that kind of softer role. Again, he doesn't do it very often, but I think he would add a little bit of it. It would still be a little bit more of an edge to it, but I think he could have. Again, it would have been a good playing off of Mel Gibson that way. That's where I was going to go with on that.
Bold choices. Like Chris Cooper, when I think he's one of the standouts in The Patriot for me.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's interesting. Yeah, softer Ed Harris.
Just to say it, everyone I got to challenge my boy a little bit. I'm going to prove how good he is. But
he could definitely do it, though. Yeah, but Chris Cooper, he's one of those actors, and Ben and Drew have said it themselves. He's one of these character actors that just doesn't get enough love.
That's very true.
He's amazing.
I agree. He does not get enough love, and I would absolutely agree with that. I guess the other one I would, like I said, the other that John Billings would have been kind of cool too. But either way, that's where we are with that. Going with Harris. Either way, we just made the movies better in some ways, or at least made them as good as they were. If not, we'll find out. So anyway, without the public defender, let's get right into our next segment there. Now, the meat and potatoes of the show. We got the Patriot versus Braveheart, and we got the 5 custom-made categories that we have come up with. And I'll list them off now, then we'll get down into it. Our first category, better Mel. Mel may be an asshole in real life. That's true at this point. We're not going to touch on that too much.
Nope.
We're not going to. We're about the art, not the artist. So we're at which one is the better Mel? You got Braveheart's Mel, William Wallace, or you got Benjamin Martin. In the Patriot. And that's our first category. Our second category will be the better villains. I mean, you got to say a little bit more because it's kind of interesting because the Patriot, of course, has Tabington, as we talked about with Jason Isaacs. He's still got Tom Wilkinson as Cornwallis is still a villain, even though he is not as bad as Isaac's character. Braveheart, you got Longshanks, the king over Longshanks. You got a couple of other little mini. You got the Longshanks' son, who's kind of a still evilish kind of. There's a lot of evil people down the line.
There are, and there's this one character. Oh, actually, I'll get into when we get down to it. Yep.
Hold on, Jarvie. Hold on. You're going too fast for us. Wait a goddamn minute. We got better score. My boy John Williams did the Patriot.
Who?
Of course, the greatest of all time, John Williams.
Hans Zimmer did score for the Patriot.
Did he? No, John Williams did.
No, you said the greatest of all time did a score for the Patriot.
Yeah, that's what I said. John Williams.
Yeah, so Hans Zimmer.
No, John, you mother. I'm really about to pick you up. You actually threw me for a loop there for a second. I was like, wait, really? Did I get that wrong? I didn't. You did get it. Like, I thought it was John Williams. I know my John Williams pretty well. That sounds like John Williams to me. I can't believe you ever dissed John Williams. That's Star Wars. Star Wars, Jarvie. Star Wars.
It's actually
Star Wars, Jarvie.
It's Star Wars. Let's continue.
Yeah, we better get very mad. You're gonna see me get very angry. Of course, Braveheart is James Horner. Is that not Hans? It's not Hans Zimmer either. It's James Horner. But that's another one. They're both great scores. I can't wait to discuss those.
He's one of the greats.
Very much so. Fourth one we got. I like this category. Better Mel's Ben. Basically, both films had the crew that fights with Mel supporting his little warfare for independence, either for Scotland or for America.
Mel's entourage.
I like that. There's backups. There's a lot of cool people throughout. A lot of great supporting cast in both films because they're both epics. And finally, of course, you got the better fist pump. It's basically we say 5 custom-made categories. It's pretty much 4 custom-made categories now plus fist pumps because that's the excuse why we talk about these films. We want to talk about our favorite moments. So we got to go with better fist pumps there at the end. It's going to be the last one we're going to go into.
They have to be in there because they're both are AMA movies as well. We just had to.
That's true. I honestly can't foresee a class action when it's a movie versus movie category without having the better fist pumps. When we get into like actors or directors, that's actually obviously not going to fit. Which might happen maybe next week, which we'll get
maybe
into.
So.
Tease into that at the end, but always looking to do a little more than the movies versus movies. The movies versus movies is very easy to for us to settle into, obviously, because that's the easiest ones to compare. But we're trying to break free a little bit, branch out, but we'll get there. First off, let's start with the better Mel. Which one is it, Wallace or is it Martin? You want to start this one off for us, Jared?
Yeah, this was the second toughest one for me.
This is tough.
Because we have younger Mel who is more raw. Well, he is more raw in the sense, and he's okay. I gotta say, he's like freaking yoked. He's so damn ripped in this movie. His physicality, like his physical look, I like way better in Braveheart. In The Patriot, I like how he went all in with, this emotional acting. He's trying to get another Oscar for it.
Right.
So I've got he's an amazing character actor in Braveheart as well, but something about The Patriot, the way he's going all in, like he's giving way more effort than the movie deserves. I think I even answered it now because I think it's actually he's better in The Patriot because I love him as this young gun. It's like he looks actually like unbeatable in Braveheart, but he's at that perfect age in The Patriot. He's like grizzled enough but you still believe that he can kick loads of ass.
It's funny
And
because it's not that much older. It's like Braveheart is 95. This was
It's
like
5 years. Yeah.
2000.
It's 5 years.
So, but you're right, but it's still not that
But
much.
you can
Like,
tell.
When you say older, grizzled veteran kind of thing, you kind of think of someone it's like 10 years, 20 years down the line almost in a way. But I don't disagree with you, though. I'm not saying like because he is a little bit older. It's just kind of it's funny that it's only 5 years and yet here it is a young rookie versus the old grizzled vet. This is a great question for me as well. So you're going Patriot.
I'm going Patriot, and this got me thinking also like a thesis statement for this category. And I gotta say, Mel Gibson is the best emotional actor ever. Even better than Hugh Jackman with his anger and stuff. Like his emotionality, pure emotion. yeah. Which, by the way, he does in both movies. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
He does it
in.
I was like, holy shit! Like I was watching Braveheart, and he's like avenging Mern. Oh, it's
there. It is. There it is.
It's right there.
Mel Gibson's revenge story is basically. Oh God! You make a strong point because I gotta say, when my first initial thought was like a snap judgment, I was like, it's got to be Braveheart. That's the more Academy Award winning film and performance. There's a lot in there, but I saw a couple things in Patriot that really got me because it seemed to be much more of a almost layered performance at times. Like there is more to it than just like in Braveheart. It seemed to be not. I can't say one note. It's not one note, but like he had like the love angle, and then also after the murder of Murray, like he became this one singular driven person.
Exactly. One goal, whereas the other one, he's a father. He's also fighting for his country. He's got so many things he's fighting for.
There's the brother, there's the country, there's the sons, the country, his other family, his daughter, his sister-in-law thrown in there. All of that, I would honestly argue, is a little bit of it was not necessary. That whole part was not necessary, I found. But it's like we got to throw a love interest here somewhere. His wife's dead. We're not. So we'll just give him a sister. Okay, that's just a little weird. That just seems a little weird.
We could also talk Star Wars if you want to talk about.
Are you doubting Star Wars right now?
I feel like I am, which is like definitely.
I'm gonna call us up later on. Jarvie hates Star Wars. That's what I'm hearing right now. Jarvie hates
and
Star
John
Wars.
Williams.
And John Williams. So I feel like I want to say the Patriot. I do. But then I'm left with two big scenes in Braveheart that make me lean back the other way. The betrayal of Robert the Bruce.
Oh my God.
When Mel Gibson.
That look.
I have never, it's such.
That's in my fist pump, so I was saving it, but we can talk about it now.
No, you know what? I'll save it then, because I'll just say that's one look. I'll just say it because I'm just talking about actor performance. And then the whole performance when he is on the rack, pretty much. He's getting tortured.
Right.
At the very end. And he does everything. It's so much. It's so driven, so powerful, so young that I feel like it's. Mel Gibson's performance in The Patriot is better than the movie deserves, in a way. If that makes sense.
That's what I said, yeah.
I agree, that's what I'm saying, yeah. And but I think the performance in Braveheart, and that's why I have to give it to Braveheart, because the movie, his performance in the movie deserves the movie. It's all a much prettier package for me.
For sure.
That makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, they could both go either way for me, but I'm going to give it to Braveheart. Barely. Barely on that.
Makes sense, yeah. This is why I'm giving it to the Patriot, is because he stands out more in the Patriot because of the quality of the movie.
You know what? That's actually a good point. I don't know. Maybe I'll convince myself otherwise. I'll throw this out here now. The confidence is that no, I shouldn't say this yet, because it gets into something. All right. I'll talk about it in a later category. I'll bring it. Remember, I said this, and then I'll bring it back up. Maybe I'll come back, and maybe I'll change. Maybe I'll change my mind later on after I talk about a different category. We'll have to find out. Stay tuned. So let's go into the next category then.
Let's do
better villain. I'll take the lead if you don't mind on this one.
For sure. Go ahead.
Okay. The funny thing about this one is I had a very quick, easy snap judgment. This is the Patriot all day, no problem. Because Jason Isaacs is so brilliant as Tavington, so great. And then you add Wilkins's behind it. I mean, one of my favorite quotes from AMA is Ben and Drew quoting Tom Wilkins. Dab him, dab, dab him. But Isaacs chewed up the scenery so much. but it so fits the movie, fits what the movie wants to be. I honestly think Jason Isaacs Tarrington is one of my favorite villains of all time. Like you
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
action villains, he might be top 5 of like villains in there.
He
Up there
even
with Gruber, up there with Hummel, if you count Hummel
don't
as a
you say
villain.
Hummel is a villain.
You know what I mean? I gotta throw him in there. I know he's not. I know we love Hummel as a anti-hero or whatnot, but he technically counts as the antagonist,
I
let's
know.
say. But Hummel, right up there with them. He's like one of my favorite characters of all time in that way. So it was like, this is definitively the way. Then I watched Braveheart, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized it wasn't as clearly drawn as I thought. Longshanks is a great villain.
Right,
He's a
right.
great villain. And he's not as demonstrative
Mm-hmm.
as Isaacs. He's not as scene chewing. He's much more subtle with his ways. But god damn, you hate him. You
Yeah,
just
he's
hate
brilliant.
him.
He's brilliant. He's doing all the right moves.
Right. And the whole thing is, like the whole like, archers, and like, sir, we're gonna hit your own men. Yeah,
We'll
we
hit
will.
theirs too.
Yeah, we will. We'll hit theirs too. And they're like, send the Irishman. Send the Irish. Send the Irish. Dead costs nothing. Arrows cost money. Or whatever it was. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
he pushes his son's like lover or whatever advisor out the window. Holy shit! Like the whole thing is so dark. It's so such a bad guy.
Can I say something about Longshanks?
Go right ahead.
Everything just like an extension of what you said, and this got me thinking. Like everything he does, the way he plays chess, he does violent, gruesome things, but everything he does, pretty much he succeeds at, and he's doing amazing mind games. He's the Tywin Lannister of Braveheart.
Yes,
He's
exactly
securing. He's securing his power. He's doing the right moves. The way he's doing it, there is no excuse for that. But he's doing the right thing for his family and country.
You're not wrong. I mean, it's despicable. Mm-hmm. He does have the good intentions in mind, and as does the other villainous type role in that Robert the Bruce's father.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing. He just wants the best for his son, wants the best for his kingdom, his son's kingdom, he's doing everything he can to put his son in power in Scotland because he thinks that his son will be a great ruler. But the way he goes about it is despicable, is against everything that Robert the Bruce wants. The whole leper angle also just like it's. I guess I've never actually read about the history too much. That must be a truthful thing. Maybe Robert Bruce's father did have leprosy or whatever, because it seemed like otherwise there was no real reason to have it. It seemed like it was almost a distraction almost.
I think there might be. I think maybe he came out maybe he came out as too much of a villain, and this leprosy made you feel sympathy for him in a way. Maybe. Sort of that you feel sorry for him.
I could be. But either way, both were great. But even though I'm saying all that, I'm still got to go with Tabington because I can't touch Tabington.
Okay, can I just read you my notes, like pretty much what they are?
Go ahead.
Like Braveheart, Longshanks is cruel and vile, truly a great villain, very overlooked. And I have a quote from like his quote, like "Damn him, damn that man." I think it matches like Longshanks saying, "If we can get them out, we'll breathe them out." Like the way he did, he always accentuates the R's, like breathe them out. He's very much the Tywin Lannister, a tactician, and he puts himself in winning situations. Now, the Patriot, Tabington, the end.
Pretty much. God. It's just so, but he's just so evil. Just the way he targets the children, and I love
the first time he shows up on his horse, like coming in, like looking so villainous.
But the way he just does it, and just Benny. I'll talk. Well, I'll mention now. Not a fist bump one, but a powerful one. The church.
Oh yeah.
He burns the people alive, all in the way to get to Martin, and you're just like, holy! Even all of his men are like, what? We can't. So bad. He's so villainous, so evil, but such a great character to watch. Oh, and of course. I love the time when like he tries to get Mel Gibson, get Benjamin Martin to attack him during parley. He like, goes right into his face. He goes, sometimes it's a duty, and sometimes it's a pleasure. He tries
Oh,
he tries to goad him into hitting him.
no.
Oh, so evil. God, I love him.
And
I
the
love it.
shaving scene, like
Shit,
this
yeah.
is I'm totally stealing this from AMA.
I,
But like when his hair down at the stream, just like, and the gun flip when he's attacking,
oh, so good. So good. Yeah,
stupid
it's
boy.
stupid boy. It's Havington all day. As much as I did,
Tabbington all
but
day.
I was not, I guess I could just say surprised because I knew it. But when I watched Braveheart again, I was like, yeah, this is a very good film now.
It is.
My
I
initial
had the
thought,
same thought. Yeah.
because my initial thought when I went to rewatch, I'm like, I don't remember the villains a whole lot. I remember like the Longshanks was evil, but I didn't remember just how well it was
Did you
played.
just say Schlongshanks?
Longshanks. Did I?
Okay, this must be my internet accent. Because his name is already like, it sounds really weird. And I honestly, I gotta say, this is what I just heard.
Hit the tape, the rewind. Maybe I did. Who knows? Maybe you shouldn't at this point. We don't want to cancel. So Longshanks.
Schlong is not a offensive word, I feel like.
All right, so we both go Patriot.
We'll agree that he, as a character, he is a big schlong.
He very much is a big schlong. That's absolutely true. 110%. Absolutely.
Saved it.
You did. I thought you brought it back there. All right, so let's get into the next category then. Better score. Do you want to go on
Willie Dubs versus James Horner?
Break My Heart, or you want to go first and Break My Heart, or what do you want to
do? I think I'm going to break your heart.
Go ahead, Break My Heart.
It is Braveheart. It is Braveheart, and not by as much as I thought at first, but I watched both movies and I was thinking about the score and I just tried to hum the melody. And I could do it easily with Braveheart. With the Patriot, I couldn't really remember what the movements were. So Braveheart has this iconic thing going for it, but it also has this quality that Lord of the Rings has. Like they have these scenery shots when they're like when the Highlanders are coming together, and we have this music that is like the music drives the movie for a while. Like there's nothing else needed. It just takes you to places and makes you feel things. In the Patriot, we have it's really sweet, like early 2000s, this like very melodramatic music. But Braveheart, it drives Braveheart. The music drives Braveheart.
You're stealing my notes now. You're stealing my notes now a little bit. I was going to say when I was talking about Braveheart is that Braveheart does have a very Lord of the Rings quality to it. It's very shire during the Highland scenes, especially. And it's very lilting. It's very Celtic, which I really enjoy as well. That side to it. Patriot has awesome moments from John Williams. The only problem I have with the Patriot stuff is that it's a lot of it happens to be of its time. I'm saying the 2000s. It's the 1700s flute whistle drum thing, and that's just not my favorite type of music. So I'm actually giving it to Braveheart also. And I love John Williams, but this is not one of my favorite John Williams scores.
I gotta agree.
There's a lot to it, especially the final battle sequence is really well done. Very epic, very John Williams. There's some moments in there that are big hints. But yeah, I feel it's not John Williams' fault. It's just my own personal preference that I would prefer the lilting Celtic wave of music rather than the militaristic 1700s militaristic drums and flutes and things. So at the end of the day, I mean, I love John Williams. Here I am. I think this is the second time this happened, right? Where I've been like yelling at you for getting on me about John Williams, and then what happens? I choose the other guy anyway. Either way, I'm like, this is.
I wonder if someone like subconsciously made you feel things against John Williams.
Maybe. I wonder. I wonder
who.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Like I would never like, but I'll be honest. I had to look up the Patriots composer, and I was like, John Williams did the score. Like usually when the score is good, I'm like, okay, this sounds like John Williams or Alan Sylvester and John Williams. They're always like they're very much similar styles. This I couldn't tell who it was. I would have said either like early 2000s Hans Zimmer or this. It didn't have this Williams magic.
Right.
Most of his stuff have this sort of like playful like stuff, but that's exactly what you said. The music is very indicative of its time,
right? And
like
the
theme, yeah,
the setting. That's fine. So I guess at the end of the day, I gotta go Braveheart.
Yeah,
That's
but it's such a great score though.
it is.
Such
It really,
a great
I
score.
can't lie. There is a really great, score. So, all right, you want to move on? Then we'll move on to. We're actually breezing by this show today. This is it's a very quick episode, but maybe it's a very indicative of what we saw. But I love it. Better Mel's Men. I just like saying that Mel's Men.
Better Mel's Men.
Better
Mel and his band of merry men.
Okay, this is what I was talking about before. I was trying to say.
Okay.
But I didn't want to talk about it yet. So let me go into this, and then I'll kind of swing it back to Better Mel as well. Both films are epic, obviously. Both films have a lot of supporting characters, and not only a lot of supporting characters, a lot of supporting characters that specifically work with Mel Gibson's characters in the Independence War. Not like on the villainous side, not even like you talk about love interest too, if you want, but the crew that ends up being side by side with Mel Gibson. And they both are very good. But I automatically leaned one way. I liked the Patriot. I liked. I got Heath Ledger in one of his only roles. A great role as Mel Gibson's son. Love him in that role. You have Donald Logue, who is a very underrated actor. You've seen him in Blade. You've seen him in a show called The War at Home, and he's a great as this racist guy who has a little bit of an arc where at the end he kind of has learned after fighting with Occam, the free.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole relationship is kind of on the nose. But the attention is very much there, and you're still on board because you know it's a Roland Emmerich movie and it's the early 2000s.
Exactly. You gotta kind of get a little bit of forgiveness of her being of its time a little bit. It's like trying.
What does he say like the Lord of the Rings thing? Like how about fighting side by side with a friend? Something like that.
Similar to it.
No, it's honored.
Honored, yes.
Like it's too much. But I feel you. It's
right, exactly. the attempt is there.
Yeah.
But again, we mentioned before, Chris Cooper is a great role, even though he's not with him, but he's such a phenomenal actor. I really liked even the guy who played John Billings as a great character, especially because it ended up being such a heartbreak when his
Baldwin. He's one of the Baldwin guys. No.
No, that's no. Adam Baldwin is it's actually not a brother Baldwin; it's a different Baldwin. But Adam Baldwin does play one of the. He's the guy who plays.
Right.
He's a villain.
It's a namesake.
Yeah. He's a villain, or whatever.
He's the shit weasel. Like he's the shit weasel of the picture.
You almost feel bad for him because like you tell he's over his head. He's in over his head, and he's the one he's the one who lights the church on fire and doesn't really want to do it, but does. It's like, God damn it, you're rooting for him to like turn back, but no, it doesn't work that way. And of course, got the Reverend too. The Reverend's also a good.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. I feel like there's a big hairy butt lurking around the corner with
big
Braveheart.
Hairy butt, and
we do see these hairy butts.
Wrong. You do see a lot of hairy butts. There's a big hairy butt.
Slongs as well.
You do. That's true.
We do.
That's what it is too. But I gotta tell you, it's the big hairy butt because you got such great character actors. I mean, on one side, like I said, on Patriot side, you had Chris Cooper, a great actor, and some other no names and something they didn't do well. But you have some established hardcore actors. You got Just Ad Cox, Brian Cox. You got you got Brendan Gleeson.
Oh, Hamish.
So powerful.
And Hamish's father.
Hamish's father,
as sweet as Hamish himself.
Yes, I can't remember the actor, but he is so. I can't remember his name now. The older English.
I just looked him. I was like Cosmo something. James Cosmo.
Cosmo. Yes. He is such a great actor, such a great character. You see him then grow up together, Hamish and Willie Wallace with their fathers. You also got who I said before, David O'Hara as Stephen. Really steals the show for me.
It's my island.
My favorite. It's my island. He's talking. The Almighty says, "Shut up and let me do it."
He's like, "Do I get to kill Englishmen?" He's like, "The answer to your question, yes, you get to kill Englishmen." Excellent. But the great part is, and that's my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of the whole movie is you have this character like Stephen, where he's crazy. They make it a whole bit. But he has his dramatic moments. Yeah. And one of the best moments we already talked about, send me one of your fist pumps. I know when Robert the Bruce betrays him, all of a sudden here comes Stephen. And Robert puts him on the horse, and Stephen shares this look gives
Robert the
look.
Bruce, and it's exactly like it says like, "Oh, you asshole," but I'm gonna almost sort of respect you. You're letting me get away.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, fine. And like, but then you know what? Let's bring that up. Robert the Bruce, great performance, great acting, great character. Even though he's not really Mills, he does become Millsman again, I guess, at the end to a degree.
Angus McFadden.
That's right. And there's actually a sequel. Have you ever seen the sequel to Braveheart?
Do you mean the
it's
Outlaw
a sort of
King?
sequel? Is it? No, it's because they did the Robert the Bruce movie.
Outlaw King with Chris
Was it Outlaw? Was that what it was? No.
Well,
it's a
that's
separate
the
one.
new one in Netflix now.
There's the Outlaw King is Chris Pine's one, but they actually did a. It's like
Did they?
It was it's starring Angus McFadden.
Oh, really?
As Robert the
that.
Bruce, like 20 years, like it's recent. I haven't actually seen it, so I have no idea. Let's see
Really?
where it was. If you look it up in there,
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's actually the film is called Robert the Bruce, and it was 2018. It was announced. I think it was on I don't know exactly. I don't know if it's come out yet or not. To be honest with you.
Wow, it's 2019. How come I didn't know about this movie?
Yeah, it wasn't very well. It wasn't very
5.4 on IMDb.
Didn't get a good ratings, huh? I don't know. I didn't actually see it. It kind of came and went. But either way, I was kind of interested that it was the same actor. Here it is like 20 years later, more than that now, 20, whatever. But either way, we're getting into something I haven't seen yet, so I can't really talk on it. But Robert the Bruce himself is a great character. And I can understand why I would make a film. If you were going to do a sequel, that would be the one you'd have to focus on, really, would be Angus McFadden's role in that. But I'm digressing already because I'm saying this is what I mean is that I would go into all these things. Patriot had such a great cast, but it pales in comparison to Mel's Men and Braveheart.
Yeah, the Patriot. We also have the Frenchman.
I forgot about the Frenchman. Frenchman's a good character.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the Steven almost.
Yeah, he is. He's very much like the Steven.
These movies are very similar in some ways.
But they are like. But that's what I gotta say. Like this, it's almost unfair that the Patriot came after Braveheart because I wonder if it was switched, if it was flipped. The Patriot came out first and then Braveheart. I wonder if the Patriot would be considered as like it would be thought of more.
I guess more
than
that.
It is.
I mean, I think objectively you have to say that Braveheart's still a better film overall. So I think maybe that would be against it. But I get what you're saying. I think one of the knocks against the Patriot is that it is kind of a Braveheart retread to a degree. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think I agree with you. Like even though I think about Chris Cooper and like Reverend Oliver, everyone, but I think like Amish and the Irishman. I just wish I said his name, Steven. You can't. I just can't not give it to them. They're So I could think and recast some of the Patriots, the companions, but I cannot recast Braveheart.
That's what it is. It's more memorable. The Braveheart characters, they're more memorable roles. Even the guys I mentioned, the Patriot, like John Billings, I could recast him, no problem. Probably.
Yep.
Reverend, I wouldn't be so distraught if he was recast.
I would have Liam Neeson as the Reverend.
Ooh, that's a good choice. I like that. I like that quite a bit.
And I'd have Brad Pitt as Steven do his worst Irish accent. But have like crazy Pitt from 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. Yeah, I would work very well, actually. I like that. Well, all right, then we're down to our final category then today. It's going to be Best Fist Pumps. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You go first now. Which way does it go? You go first. I go first.
You go first. I go. What do we do here? You go first. No, you don't. You can't do that. You don't like Star Wars. I
had that one coming.
You did. I'll let you go. I'll try not to knock it too much, but all right. I'll go first then. The funny thing is, I had a snap judgment here. My snap judgment here was that Patriot was going to win this because
mine's quite the reverse.
Because my whole thought process behind the whole thing was that Braveheart was a better movie, but Patriot had so many sweet moments. So I was like, gotta be the Patriot has some sweet moments. But I'm not sure now. I'm not sure. So let me talk you through something. Maybe we'll just share some of the end. One of my favorite fist bump moments is explosion of emotion moment. It's not an action moment, but from the Patriot.
Papa, don't go.
You read my fucking mind.
Papa, come back. I'll say anything. Like, I cry my freaking eyes out every time that happens.
Every time. And Mel Gibson's acting is probably the best in that particular moment of both movies, perhaps. Definitively in The Patriot, but maybe of both movies. It's so heart-wrenching the way he does that scene, the way she does it. It's so perfectly brought up. It's the way it's brought in. I ball it, baby, every time.
That's one of the moments that's one of the moments. Like, you know, like the if I had to pick like top 3 explosions of emotions in movies, this would make it there.
Yeah, it's pretty high for me as well. Going over to the Braveheart, but I might as well talk about this because it's one other way first, since we've already mentioned it like 5 times. The betrayal of Robert the Bruce. When that happens, when that helmet comes off, and Mel Gibson and Wallace sees Robert Bruce,
that confusion and sadness. Like we shook hands,
right? You're supposed to, and it just like sinks down and doesn't know what to do,
doesn't care anymore.
So hurt to the point where Robert the Bruce is just so affected. It's like, come on, get up. He's like getting sick. He throws it, even though he's betrayed him. He knows he's done wrong, and the whole sequence follows. Like, it's such a long fist bump sequence because it's followed by Robert the Bruce not only having that moment with Stephen, but then going to his father.
That's the one. There we go.
Right to his father, and he's like, "I hope you're dead. I want you to die."
I looked in his face. I saw his eyes. Like he even says the look that Mel gave him. Wow.
Right now, right now.
And that conversation with his father, that's one of the biggest fist bumps in Braveheart.
I'll never be on the wrong side again. That's the declaration. I'll never be on the wrong side again.
Like I'll get into it now. Like Robert the Bruce is the most interesting character in Braveheart, and I said this to you last night when I was watching the movie. And as I get older, I start thinking about the choices that he had to make. Like William Wallace, he was a simple man. He had simple choices. He didn't have to think of what will come after. He just had a goal that he had to achieve and fight on the battlefield, pretty much. Robert the Bruce has his family, the country, the nobleman, his father whispering in his ear, which is actually, they're not wrong things that he's saying to him. He's giving advice exactly like we say. He's like the Tywin Lannister almost. They have to think of how they can continue the country. So he cannot make these decisions that William Wallace can make.
He can't afford to. It's a politics, a messy thing. Politics is always a messy thing.
And they even say that you want to ride onto a horse and charge into war with him. He's like, I do. But he knows he can.
He can't do it. Oh, God, so good. So good.
And his performance, like Angus McFadden. I don't know, McFadden or McFadden? I don't know which one it is.
I think it's McFadden, I believe. But it's like spelled like McFadden. But it's so good, though. It is so good. But
the look that Mel gives to when his daughter is rushing to him is equal to
is good, when,
I mean that moment when he comes back to, well, actually it's not because it's different emotions, but when he finds out that Mern's been killed.
That's not what
he's like riding in. He's got he's like raising his hands. And when he gets to the guy who killed her, he's just like looking at him, just like head to toe, and just drags him on the post, like slits his throat. And I love, it's weird to say that I love it, but I think it's a good choice that they show how his throat is like bursting. Like you can't show Mern's because that would be too much, but you need that blood revenge in that scene. Like, I know it's not a healthy thing to say, but the way that scene was shot showed the blood of this nobleman that was needed there.
Right. Well, Braveheart is very violent and very graphic, especially for 1995 in that time. Like, it's a lot of this, like, wow, kind of moments in there. You're like, holy shit. But you're absolutely right. That's part of it. Of course, you should also mention the fist bumps of the speech, the freedom speech.
God. Yeah, which he actually gave in the Patriot as well. Did you know
It
that?
did. It is a very
Yeah.
similar speech. Yep. But I guess in a way it was less of a fist pump in the Patriot because it seemed like more of a rehash at that point. It was like okay, here's the
No, no,
freedom
no, no,
speech.
no. I mean, behind the scenes that he was, they were shooting the war scenes, and like the extras were all getting tired. It was too hot, and
We
they
actually
went to
gave
Mel. He's like, "You
oh
see,
really?
Can you give the speech to the extras that are getting tired?" He was like, "Sure, I'll do it." He even did the Scottish accent.
Did he really?
They
I didn't
talked
know
about it
that.
on AMA. They talked about it on AMA.
I forget this. I forgot that.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't see that.
he was like, "Of course," and he had it memorized like perfectly. He delivered it, and like everyone was like, "Yep, we can do
Oh,
this."
wow. I just looked back that I forgot that.
So
Part.
cool.
I was just talking about just generally because he has similar not speeches, but like talking moments in the Patriot again that are inspiring moments and things like that. It's less that though. Actually, I'll go back to the Patriot. It's more the inspiring moment in the battlefield when he at the very end there he grabs the flag when the flank is breaking. And he comes, he's like, "Come back!" He throws it. He grabs his flag. He's running up with the flag. Come back! Come back! And that's so good too. And of course, the death of Tabington. What do you think? Like he's like kneeling down.
It's the gurgling death, like
the gurgling death, and like he moves just out of the way, and then so good, so powerful.
The gurgle has to be there to again this blood revenge, like in the Gladiator, just like when Joaquin. You need it.
It's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Oh god! Any other fist pumps from either movie at this point that you want to toss on there?
Well, the Patriot, when the very start, when he's like one of his sons is murdered, and he's like he gets his kids together and he goes aim small, miss small. Like tomahawks. It's like I also like, aim small, miss small.
Aim small, miss small.
Such a great sentiment. Like aim the buttons on his jacket and you'll miss the button, but you'll get the man. Like
Yep. It's so great. It's awesome. But you
like
see
the crazy Mel moments. Yeah.
You see his savagery in there, and you watch his son seeing the savagery. Their son's around like, oh shit, this is my father. Oh my god, what's going on? But that's really cool too. Also, one of my favorite. This is more of a silly fist pump moment, but I loved it. In the Patriot when Benjamin Martin parlays with Cornwallis, and then he leaves, and I goes, whoop, the dogs come, like they're his dogs now. Like, that's awesome. That's perfectly awesome.
But first he says they ate the dogs. I like the fact that they brought him back. I was like, no, you
dogs are a good deal.
Yeah.
There's a great sentiment there, though. But God, I'm so talking to you that I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going on these.
You know which the decider for me?
What is it?
It's the Papa Don't Go moment.
That's it, huh?
That overshadows almost everything, and I don't know, Robert the Bruce moments.
That's what it comes down to me. Like there's such great fist bumps in most. Those two sequences, I'm like, which one is more? Which one is more?
Okay, yeah, I gotta go. I'm going with Braveheart because of like how the movie has changed for me and how I find Robert the Bruce like the most interesting character now, and his moments with his father, which is weird because they're not William Wallace moments. But I think I'm gonna switch mine and say Braveheart because of Robert the Bruce, for sure.
I think you're right. I think I gotta go with that too. It's such a more of a longer moving moment. You lay in that. Like, you shouldn't even say fist pump. Just like if you're fist pumping, you'd be fist pumping for like about 10 minutes. You're just like you're just so engrossed in at that point. You're so like in your feels. Like, even talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm talking about it. So absolutely. I think I got to go with that too. I'm gonna go with Braveheart as well. So guess what? We're done. We got a winner. 7-3.
Wow. Okay,
Braveheart.
That's strong.
Braveheart.
It's Braveheart. It's
Braveheart.
Gotta be Braveheart.
Victory! It makes sense. It does make sense. It makes all the sense in the world to me. Patriot is a sweet movie. It's a very fun movie.
It's a more rewatchable movie for me lately. Yeah,
I could totally get being a rewatchable movie.
Although it's 3 hours, the extended version.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both 3 hours.
They're both like 3 hours, but for whatever reason, it's just a sweet sweet moments in there. The Tavington moments are there that make it an easier rewatch, I think. But at the end of the day, Braveheart's just a better film. It's just a better film overall. It's the original film.
It had to win, and it deservedly wins here. Although Patriot still go watch Patriot as well. Like,
yeah, I think you should watch.
Truly have to.
You still have a lot of fun. There's still a lot of fun to be had in that there, man. So don't worry about that. Well, that's where we are tonight, or today, rather. Happy Independence Day. Thanks for
Happy Independence Day, America.
Thanks for spending some of your day here with us here in Class Action. We should talk real quick about what's coming up. We have a couple of things coming up quickly. Next week, there's a change of schedule. We're going to be doing Eddie. We're going to talk with Eddie Green from Eddie Green 101, good action movie and anime fan. We were going to be doing Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 versus Unstoppable, but that has to be postponed, possibly for a couple weeks. We still want to do it. We're still trying to work out a best way to get us all in the same recording space, all from different parts of the world and everything else. So instead, we discussed this morning, which we're recording this, whatever today is before. We discussed this morning. We think we're going to go with our first director off, isn't it? Our first director off?
It might be.
I think so. We're going to put up my favorite current living director, which is Denis Villeneuve, versus your favorite living director, and one of mine as well, Christopher Nolan. So Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, which one is better? I don't know. Come back and find out next week. I'll make a big scene of it. It's gonna be interesting because we can't do fist bump categories. We're gonna figure out some of the different categories for that.
We got to start thinking about it.
I know. How get this from work? But I also want to say that we do have locked in July 19th, Sunday, which is not next week, but the week after, at 9 p.m. Pacific, which is midnight Eastern Standard Time. Class Action is going to go live again. Actually, we get to do this every once in a while, and we have a special guest. It's his channel, so he can be on it anytime he wants. We're going to have Ben Bayman make an appearance and guest star with us as we count down our top 5 Tony Scott movies. Underrated director, really underrated director. I've been going through these Tony Scott marathon. I'm almost done. I actually, in the middle, I had to stop. I started watching Domino today. About halfway through that, and I got 4 months left. Deja Vu, Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, and Unstoppable. That's it. Now we done the whole sequence. But I'm looking forward to talking about that Tony Scott with Ben and with you as well. Very underrated director. So that's what we're having going on in 2 weeks' time. So I'm excited. So where can we find you, Richard Jar? Where do people find you?
You can find me at Richard Eric with a K Jarvie on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me here weekly with Paul Denuzio on Class Action.
Perfect. Now here's where I have a speech. I have a lot of things I like to do, but at Paul Denuzio on Twitter, you can find me. I run the Team Action Patreon, Action Industries Patreon at patreon.com/Team Action. A lot of cool things going on there. Please check that out. Join the Generals. We have a lot of cool community built up around us. Beyond that, I also work on the Call to Action podcast for the Movie Trivia Showdown. I do episodes of Chill to Action, which is when you're seeing this. The next episode is going to be Monday, where we'll be interviewing Sabrina Ramirez, which should be a lot of fun on that. Beautiful, intelligent young woman on the First Cut podcast. She's going to be making her Showdown debut probably within the singles tournament, I'm assuming. And then, of course, I also have opened up PLD Projects, which is my own YouTube channel, which I've been doing shows about V so far. It's all I got a few Star Wars shows, a few V shows, a few trailer reactions. I'm trying to build it up more slowly. Quarantine kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit as far as that goes. I'm working very closely to doing the Harris Dance, which will be going through every movie that Ed Harris was starring and featured in. And finally, also, I do a live hang. I'll do a live hang on Sunday nights after Call to Action live, which I sometimes do as well. So it's a lot of stuff going on for me. I know I'm a busy guy.
You do. You're a busy guy.
But I love it. I enjoy it. So come find me. Come hang out with me. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Again, let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us cover, because we're always looking for more topics. Every time we got to stumble sometimes.
It doesn't have to be movies. Can be directors, actors, whatever,
franchises. Anything you want to do. We'll look into it, man. So I guess that should do it today. Again, happy Independence Day. And as always, court is adjourned.